I'm Andrea Klein-Thomas, reporter with CBS New York, here at the 5th International Vatican Conference. Joining me right now is Dr. Bill Mobley, and you just finished up a session about neuroscience of empathy and compassion. Why is it really important for us to be talking about that during a conference like this?
Yeah, thank you for the question. It's great to be with you. The conference really examines the fundamental underpinnings of who we are as humans. And who we are as humans is fundamentally a social network. We live in social networks, we grow in social networks, we contribute to them. They give us life, and we give life back. But it's not always so easy to understand how best to relate to that other person in the room with us. How do we really most effectively communicate? How do we basically promote our well-being? We 2, we 4, we 18, whatever the number is, we 10,000. And our brains are really beautifully organized around the ability to see the other person, not just visually or not just being able to hear them, but being able to understand them, being able to understand what they're thinking. And in so doing, understand when they have pain, or when they're anxious or they're stressed out. So the ability to understand another person we call empathy, to resonate with that person's emotional state. And when we understand what they need, then we'll be in a position to basically respond to how we might help them. Sometimes helping them is not doing anything except saying, thanks for sharing your thoughts. But sometimes it means really reaching out and providing them with something they're missing. And that's compassion. So empathy and compassion are just fundamental to the way people interact with one another. And I would argue at the very core of making meaning of our lives and of enhancing their quality and their wellness, not just for ourselves, but for our whole community.
And how does empathy factor into patient outcomes, especially when it relates to Alzheimer's and other diseases?
Yeah, you think about walking into a room and here's a patient lying there, and you're the physician, and your job is to do what you can to help them, but you can't really know how to help them until you know what they're feeling, what they know about their condition, for example, what they anticipate will be the next steps in their care, what they envision for their future, and all the anxieties that come from knowing something about how it's going to affect them, but also their family members. You think about somebody with dementia, somebody with Alzheimer's disease, and in the early stages, especially, they can be very, very insightful, and they're very worried, not just about themselves, but their caregivers. So you walk into a room loaded with emotion, loaded with concern and worry, and you've got to be able to understand it at some level so that you can truly address it and support them. And if you can do that, now you've really made a difference in their lives. And of course, in turn, they've made a difference in your life because they reward you with the recognition, Doc, you got it. Thanks for being here. We feel better about what we know and about what we can do to deal with this problem that you've told us about.
Yeah, and I just wanted to touch on it really quickly. You were talking about skillful empathy, and why is that really important for the medical provider?
It's first to say it's not taught. I never was taught this, and yet it's absolutely vital to our experience. Skillful empathy means I can understand how you're feeling. Let's suppose that you've got a patient with a broken leg. I understand that this must be extremely painful for you. I see it in your face. I see it in your body language. I've experienced pain too. I know that must be very difficult for you. But I also know that my responsibility is to care for you in a way that is thoughtful and technically perfect and supportive. And if I feel pain intensely, if it's not just your leg, but my leg that's broken, I can't make good decisions about how to proceed. So that's where that perspective taking, where that skillful empathy comes in, so that you're really able to do your job as a physician.
Oh, Dr. Mobley, really, really important work that you're doing. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.